What's up, Roadside History fans and followers? Today I'm here in beautiful Star Valley, Wyoming. I'm here at a historical marker right off the side of Highway 89 known as the Lander Cutoff. You need to know a little bit about the history of the Lander Cutoff. I'm going to attempt to tell you a little bit about Frederick Lander in this video, as well as show you some of the area around and why the Lander Cutoff was so important. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to my channel, please do so. As immigrants were passing west and moving on to California and Oregon, they found themselves often coming upon depleted campsites. The trails had become bare. And as the trails had become bare, there was no firewood. There was very little supplies and areas to feed their cattle, so they began to petition the President of the United States. The President of the United States at that time was a man by the name of James Buchanan. And in 1856, when he ran for the office of the presidency, he ran on the idea that he would improve trails and improve roads for those immigrants who were trying to expand westward. So in 1857, with $300,000 appropriated, he set up the Pacific Wagon Road Act for the improvement of roads westward along the Oregon Trail. There were so many roads and networks of roads that had been created in deep ruts and rivets by all the wagons over the years. And in 1857, Congress passed the Pacific Wagon Road Act, which allowed for more roads to be built. The Lander Cutoff is an amazing piece of American history. It became a travel route for immigrants who were moving eastward to California and Oregon. It's a 256-mile wagon train route that would be built along what's today known as Highway 89. It was built to provide a safe passage for immigrants moving to California and Oregon. In 1857, the United States government got involved in the road-making world. They had been involved in travel routes already, but now they took a bigger step and they hired Frederick Lander, forgot his name for a minute. They hired Frederick Lander to come in and survey a route that would take you from South Pass, Wyoming, a northern route into Idaho. This would become known as the Lander Cutoff. It's a 256-mile route. Well, as it turns out, this route would become one of the best routes for overland travel. Over 100,000 immigrants would follow along this route. It was made possible, as I mentioned earlier, by the United States government in their passage of the Pacific Wagon Road Act. Frederick Lander, the man who would help build this route, would hire 115 men. They would come out, and in 1858, they would begin the construction of this road. Lander was an American hero. Later, he would fight in the Civil War. Lander would be the perfect man for the job. He was a well-known frontiersman, actually from Massachusetts, but knew the mountains of the western United States backwards and forwards. He was perfect for the job, and he would be appointed the superintendent over the construction of this Lander Cutoff. The cutoff took about 90 days to build at a cost of about $67,000, which may not seem like much money, but it's a tremendous amount of money back in those days. Lander wouldn't just build any wagon route. He would build a wagon route where his men would haul and move over 62,000 cubic yards of dirt. They wanted to make a great wagon route that was sustainable, that had food and water and shelter for the immigrants who would be passing through. Over 100,000 immigrants would pass through this area. They would water their cattle and feed their cattle in the areas, and they would find safe passage to California. I'm gonna take you around the area so you can see more of what this area looks like, so you can appreciate what Lander saw and what his men did to build this route. I'm also going to tell you more about Lander and his experiences, as well as some of the experiences of the immigrants who traveled along this great route. Stay tuned, and if you haven't already liked and subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm here in the Bridger National Forest. In this forest, it's incredible, the beauty that's here. The scenery, the fall colors are in full display. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is some of the scenery that immigrants who were traveling along the Lander Road or the Lander Cutoff would have seen in those days. You know, that was one of the things that when Lander was surveying the area, Frederick Lander, as he was surveying the area, that's one of the things that he took into consideration was the beautiful scenery and makeup. Immigrants would pass by wonderful things like the snow-capped Wind River mountain range. The Wind River mountain range is this incredible mountain range just to the east of the Bridger National Forest and to the east of what ultimately a few miles up the road would be Teton National Park. In fact, 21 miles of the Lander Cutoff would follow along the great Salt River Valley, which today the Salt River Valley is where you'll find modern-day Afton, Wyoming, or Smoot, Wyoming. Along this area, this valley, is where you see some spectacular scenery, but the scenery was just part of this Lander Cutoff. The Lander Cutoff would also go through about 11 miles of beautiful willow forests, and the opportunities that awaited these settlers as they passed through this area would become tremendous. Welcome back to Roadside History. Behind me in the background, you can see the beautiful Salt River. The Salt River winds through Star Valley for over 20 miles, and it runs right along parallel to Highway 89. This is the same route that the Lander Cutoff took, 21 miles, right up next to the Salt River. I thought it was important for contextual evidence just to kind of see the background and the beauty of what the Lander Trail would have looked like.
I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the Lander Cutoff to the Oregon Trail. It was a vital route that sent so many people on their way to California and the Oregon Territory. I'm going to leave you today with just a couple of clips so that you can see the beauty surrounding the area, and then the final clip, not too far up the road, comes from the Snake River overlook of the Grand Teton Mountains. You can see there in the background the Snake River and the Teton Mountain Range. Thanks again for joining us. Please like and subscribe to my channel.